Hello, my name is Alex Byun, and this is my oral commentary on the poem In Mrs. Tilscher's Class by Carol Ann Duffy. The poem the poem was written in 1990, and it is part of Duffy's collection called The Other Country. And the poems in this collection are mainly about Duffy's personal experiences, and many of her poems are reflective on her past life. So, and in Mrs. Tilscher's class is actually specific. It is about a specific teacher that Duffy had when she was in school. So the poem is a free verse poem, and it is told from the perspective of a narrator who is not specified, but the intentions of the narrator are clear, and that is to bring back memories of elementary school, and while also talking about the process of growing up, which is the purpose of the poem. So the poem is in general about bringing back the memories of childhood, while in the end looking looking towards the future of adolescence. And in the first stanza, as the title of the poem suggests, it is about being in Mrs. Tilscher's class. So Duffy brings back the memories of things in the classroom, such as the maps and the chalk and the pole outside and the laughter and the bells. So the poem, she uses very concrete details, and the purpose of these details is to bring back sentimental feelings, because all of these, all of the things that Duffy mentions to her personally, it brings back. These objects have sentimental value, and through the poem, Duffy is also bringing in the reader, and by using these specific words, Duffy is trying to allow the readers to also relate to these things that the readers may have seen in the class as well. Moving on to the second stanza, Duffy, she continues to bring back memories of books, and she uses strong words such as enthralling to describe the books. And then she adds in a dark part, and she uses an intertextual reference to Brady and Hindley, which were a couple that kidnapped and murdered children. And this could be seen as a foreshadowing to the darker portion of the poem later on. But Duffy continues with the positive feelings that the school brought for her, and she uses the word "you" multiple times in the stanza, and this makes the poem more personal, not to Duffy, but the readers, because the purpose of the poem, as mentioned earlier, is to also bring the memories to the readers, so that they can also remember the times they were in class, and also they can reflect on growing up. She says, Mrs. Tilscher loved you, and some mornings you found that she left a good gold star, and by your name. So this adds to the personal aspect of the poem, and Duffy also appeals to the reader's senses, because this allows the readers to recall their childhood memories in the classroom better, and to allow the readers to be in that moment that they're remembering. Starting from the fourth stanza, the poem starts to get a little darker. In the first line, she uses a metaphor of tadpoles changing from commas into exclamation marks, and this is to emphasize the big changes that are coming. And she continues to use very concrete details, such as the lines of kids and the playgrounds and the lunch lines. And then she again goes back to referring to the readers as you to make it more personal. And she this time she talks about how the reader was told how they were born, and the poem starts to take on a less innocent tone compared to the first two stanzas. And moving on to the fourth stanza, the stanza is about, it's like the third stanza, it is about growing up. And so in comparison to the first two stanzas, there's a darker tone, and so the purpose of the poem was not just to bring back the childhood memories, but to also the poem allows the readers to think about the process of growing up. So the fourth stanza finishes off the poem with that tone of transitioning from the classroom into the real world, and we can see that the poems stop talking about the objects in class that brought sentimental value. And in the first line of the fourth stanza, Duffy again appeals to our sense of taste, but this time with the taste of electricity, which represents danger. And then Duffy uses the phrase "heavy, sexy sky." So the word choice is very different from the first two stanzas, where the first two stanzas were talking about the laughter, the chanting, but now she's talking about reports. So that again shows the different diction that Duffy uses towards the end of the poem. And she then again uses the word "you" to bring the readers into the poem. And she says that the sky splits open into a thunderstorm. So this is the final image that Duffy puts into our minds as readers. And it is very different from the first two stanzas, which were about the nice childhood memories, but now it's about maturing. So I thought the poem, it was a nice way to, at the same time, bring back the memories of the classroom, but also to remind us that we had to grow up at one point. Thank you for listening to my IOC.